Gon' vote. Everybody gon' vote. Everybody gon' vote. Everybody gon' vote. Comrade! Labor right, them a go down, bong. Them a go down, bong. Them a go down. Is that? Margie, him a God picking. No hope their work if you touch Margie. Margie, him a God picking. No hope their work if you touch Margie. We now vote for Labour. Orange we a come out in now. If you love the PNP, who no step out for Marky G. Jamaica just come along with we. People time come, people time come, people time is up.
Only thing that's on my mind is who's gonna run this town tonight.
Yeah, I said that we are. Pledge your allegiance.
Who's gonna run this town tonight?
Yeah, I said that we are.
We gonna run this town.
Make the trumpets play. Make the trumpets play.
Economy. We have had an incredible 10 to 15 year period where we have halved our national debt from about 140% to now 68 and trending downwards. And that has been a national effort started by Portia Simpson-Miller and Peter Phillips when we came back into office, and has continued. It's important to note where it started. It's like a relay, but the heavy lifting started with us. But it's been unnecessary but not sufficient condition. The Jamaican economy since independence has grown on average 1% per year. The data that the PIOJ put out yesterday indicated that for the first quarter of 2025, we grew by 0.8 of 1%. The projection for the next 3 fiscal years is 1% growth. That can move the economy forward, that can lift living standards, and that can provide the resources and the tax revenues to provide the social services that all Jamaicans need. So what do we plan to do differently? And we have a 4E plan. On education, the party leader has already spoken extensively about that. So I'm going to go to next, energy. It's impossible for us to grow our economy at when the cost of energy is as high as it is. We are paying on average about US 40 cents per kilowatt hour. Important to note, when we left office in 2016, we were about 23, 24 cents. Now, a lot of people we measure corruption by how much them thief, and these people have stolen a lot. But we don't measure corruption by the destruction of institutions and the impact it has on our sector. So the reason we have high energy costs is not just, it just happens so. It's because the government has really done very little over the 9-year period to bring down the cost of energy. So when we were in office, we had issued requests for proposals for renewable energy. That was in 2013. That led to the build out of new solar farms, the expansion of Wigton, which ultimately is the only way we can bring down the cost of energy because we import heavy fuel oil and LNG. It's taken the government 8 years to put out additional requests for proposals to add new renewable energy to the grid. And those companies were selected last year, and the build-out will probably take another 18 to 24 months. And so that build-out will happen when we are in office. But you can't bring down the cost of energy when you take 8 years to issue an RFP. You have to be doing this every 2 to 3 years. And so our commitment is to bring down the cost of energy by ensuring that we add renewables to the grid, but also to look at the JPS license and to make changes to how it operates. There's something called net billing where you get a license if you generate your own electricity by solar or wind and you sell back to JPS. The rates that are given to individuals and companies are woefully inadequate and don't provide an incentive for persons to participate. We have to revisit that. We have to look at something called wheeling, where if you're a business with multiple locations, you can provide, if you can generate energy in one location, you can provide it to your other locations. We have to ensure that our special economic zones, that players in the special economic zones can generate and provide their own electricity. We also have to deal comprehensively with the issue of electricity theft, which adds about 20% to our electricity bills. We started a program back in 2014. It really didn't continue, again, mainly because of the corruption. They had to close down Nessal after them thieved that up and corrupted it. And so the level of investment needed to rewire houses, install prepaid meters, that wasn't done. They have now announced a program that they're going to try. That wasn't done. They have now announced a program that they're going to try to do what really should have been done over a long period of time. So the second E is energy, and Philip Powell, who transformed our telecom sector, has really given a lot of thought and effort into what we will do when we get back into office. And it also impacts cost of living, because if I ask you what is the largest bill that you pay, it is going to be your electricity bill. The third E relates to efficiency. Government is the largest player in our economy. And what we've seen over the last 3 years is that this government has been unable to spend what is called the capital budget. You have two types. You have your capital and your recurrent pays salary and other expenses. Your capital goes to building new roads, hospitals, etc. In fact, last year, they underspent the capital budget by $19 billion out of a capital budget of about 50. We are committed to making government more efficient in what is called the public investment management system. So it doesn't take 2 years for a project to go through that evaluation to determine whether you go ahead. I think it took them 3 years to make an assessment on the Troy Bridge before work could start. You can't run an efficient economy that way. We're also going to look at the procurement system while preserving the integrity of the system to ensure that we can get projects out more quickly. Because if government can't spend its own money, it impedes the level of growth that you can have. And one of the biggest impediments to growth is how this government has structured itself, with the Prime Minister at OPM and as Minister of Economic Growth having control of the largest chunk of ministries, agencies, and departments, which has created a bottleneck where simple approvals have to go to the Prime Minister's desk. And so projects are held up for inordinate periods of time simply because one person has to sign off on them. So efficiency is an integral part of how we plan to move forward. We recognize that for any economy to grow, businesses need access to funding. And we have seen the nature of the banking sector in Jamaica is that it's dominated by the two large banks who control about 70% of the market. So just 2 days ago, the Bank of Jamaica reduced its interest rates by 25 basis points, which would represent the 5th reduction in the last year and a half. So they have reduced interest rates collectively by about 125 basis points. But there's been no movement from the banks. No movements, not on your mortgage, not on loan rates. And we can't grow the economy if businesses continue to pay the very high rates for capital.
Yo, Jamaica ever keeping a man. Yo, the government here is a bare-faced, wicked, thieving, cruel government, you know. How can you bring in a medical device that value 250 Jamaican thousand? A Jamaica Labour Party MP owns the company as per the company document. You own majority of the shares, which means that you own the company. Yeah? You buy them that equipment for 250 Jamaican thousand and sell it back to the Jamaica Labour Party government. You sell it back to the government for 31.5 million Jamaicans. Tell me, say this and a beer face. And when you're done, you talk about you're choosing Jamaica, you're choosing yourself. Jamaica Labour Party, you have been choosing yourself. 1, 300% increase. You steal the children's money. $3 trillion has been missing. The Prime Minister cannot be verified. All know his wealth cannot be verified through the Integrity Commission, a law that his government passed. And you're coming and telling us that you're choosing Jamaica. How do... No, Jamaicans. We need to ask the question, how are you choosing Jamaicans when everything that you do clearly is in the best interest of yourself? No, Jamaican people, the elections are coming up in a few months. And it is time for us to choose you. Choose the people of Jamaica. And it's time that we vote out the Jamaica Labour Party. It's time that the Jamaica Labour Party see the back of our government. The bare-faced corruption that is in government is too much. And as Jamaicans, you know how many people at the hospital die because there's no ventilator? You know how many people die at the hospital because there's no bed? You know how many people have to go to the hospital and suffer because there's no oxygen? And you, the government, in a corrupt act, bought a device that is worth $250,000 after it is cleared at the wharf. And you go around and purchase one of those devices for 31.5 million, and you expect Jamaicans to hug up the government and say, you're doing a good job. It is time to go. Listen, I can't wait for your call elections. I can't wait for your call elections. It's time Jamaicans vote out Jamaica Labour Party. Jamaica Labour Party is too bare-faced with the corruption. And then when people catch them in the act, they talk about lawsuit, as if lawsuit can scare people from talking the truth. Time come, and time come now.
Oh, no go on the first promise. On the things that we are putting back in the office. On the things that we are novice. On the better listen to them. Vote them out, cause them not see we when we hungry. Vote them out from Kingston to country. Vote them out, cause when they win them a go dump way. We have to tell them promptly, people just vote them out, cause them not see we when we hungry. Vote them out from Kingston to country. Vote them out, we have to tell them promptly, cause when they win them a go dump way. Marky G, you know you the people them really want to see a great leader who will talk to we. Put on the boat and go, they go walk to we. Yes, go march to we, because we have some guy with them on a intention, leading the country in the wrong direction. That's why we come to make we own a selection. This we are gonna do when in call the election. Vote them out, cause them not see we when we hungry. Vote them out from Kingston to country. Vote them out, cause when they win them a go dump way. So we are tell them promptly, people just vote them out, cause them not see we when we hungry. Vote them out from Kingston to country. Vote them out, cause when they win them a go dump way. We have to tell them